Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to talk about AWX or open source of a tower and Ansible, and especially in versions I'm going to use the 22.7. So let's start. As you know, I have already installed it, and if you want to install and use it, you can follow that in my another video. Apart from that, the for running this program, you have to uh, use that in a Ansible remote server, followed by the installations of that in a Ansible AWX, right? And for that, I have provisioned the two servers. One is the Ansible Tower for AWX, another one for the node. And of course, AWX, it will be running that in a minimum, the requirement is that a minimum 2 CPU and 4 GB of RAM. So it will be not working that in a free time. You can install it as per like in your server needs, or please follow that in my installations guide. Okay, after installations, I have already logged in into that in a AWX, and you can see there is a both server are up and running. One for that in a AWX one, and second one for node. I'm going to connect it. So let me log in it. I have created that in a user as well. So username is Kumar, and I'm entering that in my password, and it's got successfully login. And this is the brand new installations. You can see as of now very less like in jobs and all it is there. So what I'm going to do, you can see the next and first step you have to do that in AWX. You have to log in with help of admin user and password after installations, and then you can set up that in users and all. So I have already logged in it. Next step to create a organizations. Okay, so uh, I'm going to create a organizations, and organizations is, so it may be you can ask it what is the organizations in especially tower versions of open source of a tower or AWX, right? And apart from that, it may be you have another questions why we are using the AWX, because AWX is that in a open source, and tower have a license versions by the Red Hat Ansible, so that is a GUI versions, instead of using that in a like in console or Ansible control server. From GUI you can see everything, we can do it. So let's do it one by one. So I'm going to create a organizations. So here you can see I'm in there in that in our AWX tower screen, and all the way down, if I'll come in inside that in access, first step we have to create a organizations. And organizations is logical boundary. So inside this organizations we will be able to create a number of projects, host, inventory, followed by the template as well, and it will be separated with help of a logical boundary. So I'll be just click on that in a inside that in access menu organizations and add. So you can see it is asking the organization's name. I'll be say that in, let's say, Kumar org. Okay, and then I'll be say the descriptions as well like in same. So here you can see we have a descriptions and instance group and all. As of now we are not going to do, because instance group is nothing but if you have a more than one instance of the AWX, then you can use it. And also this is that in only two parameter is required as of now, and click on the save. Now what happened, organizations got created, and access type and all other details are there, which we are going to talk in bit later. If you want, then you can also set up that in your user, in that in access we have a add button. You can add that, let's say Kumar1, and I'll be say that in last name Kumar1, followed by that in a AWX DevOps by Kumar, and actual username here you can mention it. Okay, and password, whatever's password you like it, right? And then you have to put that in a confirm password. Okay, And now you can see here, we can see normal user, system auditor or administrator, and you can see now this users is depend on that in organization. So organizations, due to that I have created the first, because this users belongs to that your organizations now, right? So this users got also created, and we can go and log in into that. So by default admin will be there. Then I have created that in a Kumar, and now Kumar 1, and the roles I have assigned as the system administrator. So we created organization successfully and one user. After that we have a next step to create a credentials, right? So for creating the credentials you need a servers, okay? And for that credentials generally you will be have a user id password followed by the or you have a user id and the private key, or you can also add that in ssh as well. So if I'll go here, you can see we have a inside the resource sections we have a credentials, right? So the credentials we can add it, and you can see here I'm just adding that in a Kumar uh, um, credentials for node, okay, node, right? And now you can see this credentials is also asking that in which organizations it is belongs to, okay? And we can see here there is a different types of credentials we have. So we can choose the Amazon Web Services, Ansible Galaxy, secret managers, container registry, Google Cloud Engine, GCP, and many more are there. OpenStack and source control for like in GitHub and all. But we are going to use that in a machine one. And here we need a username. So as I'm using that in AWS EC2, so I'll be use that in a EC2 user, and instead of a password I'll just paste that in a our key. So my key is there in already in node sections. I'll just open it because at the time of a provisioning I got it, and we can select that in a privilege escalations method as a pseudo. So that is it. For these credentials only these are the options is required. Again I'm repeating. So I provided the name, descriptions, and selected which organizations it belongs to, and then credentials type as a machines, name of the users. If you have a username and password, then you can add it, and there is this password private key is not required, but for my case the private key is in required. And the privilege escalations mode, because we are using that in EC2 user, so some of the commands we are going to perform by the root, so that is required. Now the second step is also done for creating the credentials. Now we have a fourth step. We have to create a inventory. So you can ask that, what is the inventory? So inventory is nothing but collections of a host, okay? So I'll be go and create that in again inventory. So I'm in that in AWS console, and then inventories. Followed by that, here I'll be click on that in add button. There is a three options we have: add inventory, add a smart inventory, followed by the add constructed in inventory. So we are going to choose the first options for these demonstrations, add a inventory. Now we have to type that in inventory name, so I'll just use that Kumar and INVENTORY inventory. I'll copy it and paste it, and again we have to select the which organizations this inventory is going to belongs to. Now that is only three options is required. Rest of that we can keep it as it is, not required anything. Then save it. Okay, so it's got inventory created, right? The next options we have as a creating that in a host file. So for a host file, you can see here we have the host file, and in this host file, we are going to add that in a server details, right? So and these are the some of the details it is required, right? So what we'll do, you can see I'm going to add that in a host details as well. So for doing that in a host details, we need to click on that in a host and then click on that in a add host. I'll just mention that in a name of that in a host. Let's say um, Kumar HOS Kumar to STS host, right? And then I'll put the descriptions, name of the inventory I'll keep it, right? And then here we have to add that in a details whatever it is there. So Ansible and hyphen connections colon ssh ansible underscore connections, connections, right? Ansible connection colon ssh. Then we have a Ansible Python interpreter. Okay, so this interpreter also got added, and then Ansible underscore host. And this is a public IP address is required for my node server, right? Because this is the server I'm going to configure it and use it, right? So I'll be just paste it. In your case, if whatever public or private IP address you have or host name or DNS, you can choose it. Let's say hopefully it's everything is fine, and we got that in this host added. Okay, after that in the next step we have for adding that in a projects. Okay, so after host file we need to create that in a project. So I'll be go over here, and then you can see here we have a projects. So what I'll do, this demo project is already available. I'll just click on that in a copy button, and I'll rename it. This one I'll just click on the edit button, and I'll be go all the way down, and I'll change it, name of the project. So I'll say that in a Kumar Project, right? And then I'll be say that this one, instead of a default, I'll be say, hey, this is my organizations I'm going to use. And in this project, you can see the code is referring from the in a source control, which is the Git. Okay, you can do that in a manual subversions, red instance, and many more. And as this is the TINA, and this is the URL it's going to refer it. And if I'll see here, so nothing but that in a hello world project is there. One hello underscore world YML file is there. Okay, and there is no credentials because this is the public project. If you have a public project, then you can select that in a credentials, click on the save. After the project is created, there is options to sync it. So if you click on the sync, and it will be showcase, hey, this project is success or not, meaning this GitHub is able to, we are able to connect that in GitHub and download the file inside via leave AWX project folder or not. So our project is also completed. The next step is creating the templates. Okay, the next step is creating the templates. So what is the templates? Templates is nothing but a collections of a projects, inventory, host file, and credentials. Okay, so all it will be there inside that. And you can see we have a demo template. Again, I'll just do that in a copy, while the copy the template, right? And whatever templates got copy, I just rename it. Okay, that is a easy step. I'll be say that in a Kumar T P M P L A T E, right? And job type we can run that in a check or run mode. Then followed by that we have a inventory. So I'll be select that in my our one inventory what I have created, like Kumar inventory. Again, I'll select that in my project, let's say Kumar project, and you can see hello world is this playbook is there. If that repository have more than one playbook, you have options to select it. I'll be select that in my one credentials, right? Whatever I have created for the node. um, and then you can see these are the verbosity and other details we have, which we can select it. So almost this template is also done. The next and final step is to running that in this template. So I'll be go over here and you can see this Kumar template is there. So two options we have to running it. You can click on the lunch template, or you can open it, and then in down we have a lunch here, right? So I'll just click on that in a lunch now, and if everything is fine and host is reachable, we can see we'll be able to get the output, but look like something wrong. Okay, so what it's saying, uh, faked, it's saying that in a unreachable. So what happened, something wrong in that in a you know let me see that. So in the host file, we need to see that in a what is that in a issue. Okay, okay, we'll see from here. So in this is the what we need, right? Followed by the additional command we have, right? So something there is a typo look like, edit instead of a local, I'll be use that in SSH, and then Ansible, ANSI, okay, spelling mistake, ANSIBLE, right? HOST, and then IP address. So that there was a typo, right? So again, I'll be go to that in a template, and I'll click on that in a launch. Now I'm clicking on that in this launch button, and you can see the jobs got 2 time run, and this time what is the output we are getting, we'll see it. Okay, wow, so it's got success, congratulations. And you can see we are able to run that in our playbook. So I'm just recapping what we have done it. So first we have logged into that in AWX console. After that we are able to see that in all of these options. Then we have in host, inventory, project, credentials, and template, all we have done it. Before that, organizations we have created, and then users, because organizations is a logical boundary, and inside that in we have all those resources is map on that. Now you can see here there is a two inventory, two host file, and two projects is there, and followed by the whatever jobs run it, and it will be there in here as well. So these are the jobs got run, and one time fail and second time success. We can also schedule it if you want, which will be run that in a automatic, right? And then we have a activity stream. What are the activity happening in this tower, you will be able to see. We can also create that in a workflow, and for this workflow you have to go into the template, and you have to click on that in a add a templates. Okay, and if you click on the add button, then we have a add a workflow templates, and then you can add that in a template. Let's say this is that in a Kumar workflow, right? So in the Tina Kumar workflow, which organizations this belongs to? Let's say I'm saying that in this one, which inventory you are going to use it, we'll say that in here I'm going to use that in this inventory. We can put that in a limit. Let's say 100 server is there, then you can see 1 to 10, and label and all we can put that in a job tags, skip options and all. So by default this workflow got created, and you can see we have a start. As soon as you will be click on the start, it will be asked what you want to create, right? So I'll be select that in my one template and click say hey, this is done. Then we can add that in another one. I'll be say hey, once that is a success, the next step is to call that in another jobs. Let's say I'm calling to that in this one, and likewise you can click on that again, drag it here, and then you can say that in hey, you want to link it, you want to avail that in a nodes, or view the node details, or you can say that in hey, this is that in a what we have. If there is a always execute that in regardless of the printing the final step, and then we can say in that in a drop down, this is that in a approval or sync or manage jobs. You can choose it, so we can choose that in approval also if you want. So I'll be go back and I'll be say that in a next, go back and I'll be say that in success, I'll be say that in a next, and we'll choose that in a approval and all, right? Let's say AWPROVAD approved. So after that it will become as a descriptions, there is no timeout and all, and click on the save. Now if I'll save it, the it will be come inside that in a template as a workflow. Same workflow we can launch it. Now if you running that in a workflow, you can see both job is getting first started. Now first one is getting run. Once it is success, it will be go to that in a second one, and then in second one it will be asked the approved. Okay, once the second job is success or failure, then it is asking for the approval. Once will be go, and he can see here approved, deny or cancel the workflow. So if I'll say that in approved, and this job workflow completed, right? So you can see this end-to-end job workflow got completed, and all we can monitor it in inside that in a job sections, right? So this is what we have all in all for that in AWX and Tower. Please, thanks for watching. Please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Once again, thank you.